Jeff. So walk us through your Jeff.
Sure. Hopefully my internet connection is good. But so yeah, I prepared a little something, with the help of my daughter first of all, and I'd like to share it with everyone. Um, and where is it? 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. I'll look for it long.
All right, Coach.
In the meantime, I'm also looking at some questions that our participants would like to ask is how is the fan base of the US compared to the Philippines? And I think in addition to that, I think this is something that the coaches can answer. Like, how are the fans like responding now to whatever is going on to our situation right now? So I think that Coach Jeff can answer that after the presentation.
Yeah. Well, we were speaking about Blackwater. We just had a meeting earlier, and we always do Zoom meetings and with our players, and that's what we've been doing on our end. So we're waiting on Coach to share his screen, but
yeah.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
On your audio, Coach. Coach, turn on your mic, please.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
We got.
Sorry, guys. All right. We all good? I apologize for the delay. I told myself I was gonna be prepared and not have any delays, but things happen. I just like the basketball game, but okay. Yeah, I'm happy to be able to talk to you guys a little bit about my journey along with how things are here at Alaska. It's a very proud organization. I'm really happy to be, a big part of it. So the question that was thrown at me was really about the known values that Alaska has, and I'm really proud to really talk about a few because it's something that's become who I am, and it's allowed me to become the person that I am now, to be honest with you. So if we're gonna discuss values, it's really the description of what our culture is. So amongst a few more other value words that we use each and every day, I like to quickly just talk about integrity, discipline, and family. So integrity, obviously, it starts from the top, and it's headed by our boss Fred Uitensu. He's really the guy who sets the tone for us. He runs his business the same way. I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but he is a triathlete, so he is one tough guy. He understands the need to work hard. He understands how important it is to overachieve, and this guy is really he's really the pinnacle in regards to how we do things. He always tells us, we're always going to win the right way, and the right way may not always be for everyone. But it's the way Alaska does it, and I'm proud to say that being a part of that really has helped me become the person like I said I am, and he sets a tone. So winning the right way, we don't have the luxury of a lot of the other teams, and I'm going to admit that. So we rely heavily on trades. We rely heavily on draft picks and player development. So to have a management that'll support you in everything that you do, but doing things the right way makes that championship that much more special. So you also see a picture of Coach Tim there. I know he was on a few days ago. He's the number one winningest coach in the Philippines, for a reason. And when you talk about integrity, he's also that guy who carries that in his heart. And when we discuss discipline, Coach Tim, at the beginning of my career, he was really the guy who spearheaded, the how we did things each and every day. So discipline was spoken about and was done every day at practice. And you see a couple pictures of me here at practice working with the guys, and it's something I never forget. Everything does start at practice, so we want to make sure that discipline is carried out and displayed. So under discipline, we talk about preparation and action. So again, helping the guys understand that with discipline, they're responsible for their diet. They're responsible on how hard they work and how much they give. What's gonna allow us to stand out? What's gonna allow you to stand out? Every team in the PBA, they all work hard. Every player does extra. Goes to the gym, extra shooting. So what is it that you're gonna bring that's different? So that's really the challenge to them. And mental toughness at practice, being able to prepare for practices and games. Again, it's really what it's all about. Each and every day, again, in regards to how we practice and the drills that we run, we want to make sure that there's always a learning experience and there's always a competitiveness that we bring to it. The other side to discipline is reshaping character. So, as a rookie, I kind of learned that early. When I was drafted by Alaska, I had some awesome veterans that taught me how to do things right from the beginning. And I've always embodied that and made sure that guys understand that when they first walk in. So again, it's not perfect. I hope I'm not sounding like, we do things the right way, but we're perfect. We're far from perfect. We do things our way, but we try to help improve the character of the players. The way they practice, the way they approach practice, the way they approach drills, and how do they react, when they win or when they lose, and a number one thing under reshaping characters is how they carry themselves on the court, how they carry themselves off the court. So that's really important on how we do things and their understanding. The third part to the Alaska culture is family. And again, we're no different from all the other families out there that have get-togethers and spend dinners together. But what family is about with us is really about the togetherness and about the trust. And that's always been there, and it's always there right from the beginning. And again, without being together, without having trust on the court, it's going to be hard for you to be successful. So we try to make sure that togetherness is really spoken about and displayed amongst the players, and then we extend it to the families, the wives, the girlfriends. We try to have them get together and do stuff with the team, make them feel part of the team as much as you can, because it's no secret, every player, every coach knows this. We go to practice maybe at max 4 hours, and that's a lot. 4 hours, 5 hours during the day. The rest of the time you're at home when you're with your family. So how important are they? Very important to us. So that's why more than just them being our motivators, for our reasons for giving our best each and every day, we try to use that family atmosphere to keep us closer to one another. So that's really the Alaska culture in three pillars: integrity, discipline, and family. Obviously, there's a lot of values that we use, and I'll share a little bit more as we move forward. But as it affects you personally, I like to talk a little bit about what the culture creates. So for me, the culture creates, one is high character driven people. So what's pretty amazing about that is you see the difference, you see the change in guys when you have a culture like that in your team. Number two is you have better family men. The values that they learn, that they bring, that they have at practice or within their teammates in the team, they really bring it home. And, I've learned throughout the years, and, sometimes you don't really think about it until post your career, but the way you handle differences, the way you handle issues, are a lot better and more easier because you have that character to be able to handle tough times. So that's one thing I really love about this kind of culture and how it affects you. And then last is really your value to community. We're going through a crisis right now. We're going through a pandemic, and for us players, us coaches who've been around a system or been around an environment or an organization that has this culture, it's easy to respect authority. It's easy to help others out when they need help, and that's what that's what we're all doing right now. And I'm really proud to say, not just the Aces, but all the players all around the league and all the other teams, and even all around the world, they're doing their part in sharing and helping each other out. And those are the things you learn. So your value to the community becomes bigger. So that's the personal impact. So the professional impact, and the first thing I like to say is the culture brings grit. So I'd like to share with you a book by Angela Duckworth that actually Boss Fred shared with the team and passed out to all the players and coaches. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share just Angela Duckworth's description of what grit is. She says the highly successful had a kind of ferocious determination that played out in two ways. First, these exemplars were unusually resilient and hardworking. And for all you coaches who were here a couple of days ago with Coach Chott, he discussed resiliency, being resilient, right? That hard work is not enough. Everyone works hard. So what's your difference? What are you going to bring that's different to the table? Second, they knew in a very, very deep way what it was they wanted. They not only had determination, they had direction. So it was this combination of passion and perseverance that made them achievers special. In a word, they had grit. So grit is a word that we use to kind of describe just your whole attitude and how you want to approach things. Winning is hard. As a coach, we all know that. As a player, we all know that. So many good players, so many good teams. There's that challenge each and every day, and you want to be able to bring something to the table to get you over that edge. So I'd like to share this book with you, and if you have an opportunity to read it, I suggest you do. It's really a good book. So that's my first professional impact. The second professional impact, and if you're familiar with the U.S. Marine Corps, they have this saying, and it says Semper Fidelis, and it means always faithful, right? So always faithful. So if you understand a little bit how the military works, you know that they have a willingness to sacrifice and die for each other. You know that putting your life in the hands of the one next to you. So that's what they do. They put their life in the hands of the guy next to them. So there's trust there. There's chemistry there that I got your life, you take care of my life, protect each other. Another thing that the Marines always say is that we always say about them is they are fiercely loyal to one another. And they're always moving and thinking and feeling as one unit. So imagine if your basketball team, and not exactly this, I know this may be a little bit of an exaggeration because their battlefield is different from our battlefield. This is life or death, and there's a lot more at stake than what we do, right? So, but if you have that idea or that concept in your head that you can adapt and even bring this to your team just a little bit, I think imagine how much stronger your team will be. Imagine how the chemistry would be. Imagine how much trust there would be, and who knows what you can do as a team. So I really like this. The Marine Corps is something that's respected all around the world. And if people don't know this, they're kind of known amongst the four armed forces as a triple threat, because these are the badasses. You rely on them in the air, sea, and even in land. So it's kind of nice how that triple threat adjective is used for them. And in basketball, there's always that offensive player always making sure he's in a triple threat position. So that's kind of like how I kind of like how that's parallel to each other. So that's number two. And then the last one, the last professional impact is really strong chemistry. So this is what you talk about and what you work on each and every day, and it doesn't happen overnight. This is something that you need to understand that it's going to take time, and there's got to be a lot of acceptance and kind of sacrifice from within, from each individual that's on the team. So when I talk about strong chemistry, I really mean building relationships. So relationships, I think, is really crucial within your team. You have to understand it's not just your relationship with each other, players to players. It's really players and the coaches and even players to the sports staff, the medical staff, to your utility staff, to management. It's everyone involved in the organization. You have to be willing to build a relationship with them. And then individually, it's really not just understanding what your role is. So first and foremost, know who you are, know what your strengths are, know what's being asked to do, what we're asking you to do as a player. Once you understand that, do that to the best of your ability each and every day. And then you bring that into being a team player, because that transition coincides and works together. So the Alaska team that I played for, I'm proud to say that we've always had that. We've always had that chemistry. If you notice the first and the third picture, those two are pictures that of the team that's outside of the basketball court. To me, I'm a big believer that if you get along off the court, you'll get along even better on the court. So spending time with each other off the court is big. It's big for me. It's crucial because getting to know each other a little bit better really ups the level when you talk about that family atmosphere. That strong chemistry. So this middle picture is my Alaska team, my last couple years in the league. And if you notice, three of those guys, two guys are still playing, and all those three guys are superstars in the PBA. Willie Miller is two-time MVP. Joe has, still playing for Ginebra with LA, and two respected players that were a big part of our championships when we were playing together. That last one, I'm just going to sneak this in. This is our team building with the Aces before COVID. We went to Anvaya and spent some time together because, again, we understood the importance of spending time outside the court. But yeah, so this strong chemistry is something that's needed, I think, to build a team that you really want to reach your goal. So now that I'm a coach, so from player to coach, I want to talk about preparation. And preparation, I think, is something that is, for me, the number one important aspect of the team. You form your team, you form that chemistry, you build relationships, but you still got to play ball. You still have to be able to put that ball in the basket. So your preparation is really crucial in what we do. So I have 4 pillars I'd like to quickly talk about. The first one is me, now that I'm coaching Alaska, learn from the past. So my first stint as a coach in the PBA, I was brought on with Coach Tim to coach San Miguel Coffee. And it was the first time that I got to see the different side of Coach Tim, the side that everyone is just, curious about, because not a lot of people get to be in the war room with him. So I got to experience how he thinks, how he approaches the game, how he talks to players. Before, I used to be his player, so I never got to be inside the dugout with him or his office with him. But this allowed me to learn a lot about coaching and really prepared me to where I am now. And then I had the rare opportunity to coach Ginebra for 2 conferences. It was an experience I'll never forget. Ginebra is what everyone says it is. The fans are remarkable. They have a following that is, beyond my explanation. And the guys who play for them, especially all the guys who've been part of that organization, you could see the pride that they have for playing for Ginebra, and I loved it. I loved every part of it. But me, I always felt, even I was only there for two conferences, I kind of felt like I was an outsider a little bit because I was always with Alaska. I was always competing against Ginebra, and throughout my career, it was always fun challenging them in in the finals, and knowing that 90% of the fans that are watching are rooting against us or the team I'm playing for. So that was my extra motivation. But that experience, I think, I will never forget, and that showed me that I can coach. That showed me that I can do this, and that was kind of something I realized also after that. So going into Alaska now, so things didn't work out with Ginebra. I moved over back to Alaska. I appreciate management, making an effort to get me back on board. How did it feel? It was a homecoming. So you can imagine what that means. So this is my second full circle that I described earlier. Coming back to Alaska is really like coming back to your hometown, your birthplace, your safe haven and sanctuary. So that's really how I look at it. And so it felt comfortable. It felt easy. A few adjustments here and there in how we do things, but for the most part, really comfortable. The grassroots program, now that I'm with Alaska, I'm an assistant coach. This is something I think that helped me develop into, again, the coach that I am now. So I will always suggest to coaches, young coaches out there, coach young people, coach kids, have them learn from you, improve your communication skills, improve yourself in regards to making out a clinic and a plan where you have 200 students, 200 campers, you have 10 coaches, and you have to be organized, you have to be in sync. That's one thing I learned about the Alaska Power Camp, the junior NBA program, and of course our Titan Academy. So this again helped me to where I am now, and I strongly suggest if you have an opportunity to coach kids, do it. It's really something that's gonna you're gonna be able to use come later on. And then the last part of my preparation, as a head coach now, as a deputy, as an assistant coach at Alaska. My main purpose, my main focus was player development. So getting the guys prepared for the game. I had a close relationship with the guards because I used to be a guard. So I felt like I was at home in regards to how I was, teaching and guiding them. But I made sure that I was also just as active with the bigs. This is the time where you learn and grow. This is the time where you continue studying and understanding scouting reports and game planning. I always had a curious approach where I'm always asking questions. So coaches, if there's something that I'd strongly suggest also is continue asking questions. There's no shame in asking questions because there's always something that you can learn. And I was that guy. And then the last one under deputy experience is really to think like a head coach. No one knows when you're going to have that opportunity. But after being an assistant with Alaska for about 4 years, 3.5 years to 4 years, I'm given now an opportunity to be the head coach for Alaska. So now, you gotta prepare yourself. So during that time that you're thinking and, writing notes and watching videos and attending coaches clinic, those are all in preparation to where you are now. So again, just a quick recap. These are the 4 pillars in regards to preparation: learning from the past, my homecoming, grassroots exposure, and deputy experience. Okay, hope everyone's hanging in there. Just a few more slides. I hope I'm not talking too much, but now that I'm the Alaska head coach, now it's game time. So everything that I've learned, I got to put it into play now. All the things that we discussed, all the things that in regards to preparation that you're planning for, that you wanted to try, ideas, thoughts, now you could put it in play. A goal is to make sure that we're challenging the team to be the best team that they can be. And then, so the first initial things that I needed to make sure that the focus was there from day one is these 4 things that I'd like to quickly describe. And one is just winning today. And I say that with everything that we do on a daily basis, whatever it is that you're doing. If it's a drill, if it's a workout, if it's a run, if it's a practice game, especially if it's an official game. Your goal is to win every day. You know, why else are you here? Why else are we in the PBA? Why else do we have contracts in the PBA? Why is there a team in the PBA? Why is there a league? So we're here to win. So that has to be the mindset. And I don't think there's any shame in saying that. So you got to strive for that and make sure that that's something that's in you each and every day. You know, kind of like that MJ and that Kobe attitude. Coming in, I felt like there needed to be a few changes. So after the coaching changes, there's a couple coaches who left us, but there's also some player changes. Right now, I have about eight, 9 new guys on our team. So we're new. We're you know, we haven't spent a lot of time together, but I think these changes are important for a fresh start. You know, they're important because I felt with the team that I want to throw out there, this is going to be the team for it. So you want to make sure you got guys that you know are gonna fulfill the philosophy that you bring, are gonna be able to compete at a high level, and hopefully all your job is to put them in the right position. Again, understanding culture. So the culture that we described and talked about today, that's something that we're still learning now. You know, if you can imagine, 8 out of the 15 guys are new, 16 guys are new. So there's still culture understanding. So, but what's really nice and what's really awesome about the team, that the players I have now, is everyone's willing. Everyone's willing to build relationships. Everyone's willing to sacrifice for each other. You know, everyone's asking questions and very supportive. So I really think we're in a good start on where we are in regards to position. And then last, it's really building chemistry and relationships. So touched on that already, you know, how important that is. Again, that family atmosphere, being together on and off the court. And really just showing each and every day how badly you want to be here. So aside from the healthy competition of challenging your teammates each and every day, there's always a matter of respect on how you do it. So that's the attitude we're trying to bring. And with this, I like to say that I honestly, and this is just a compliment to the guys that I have, I really believe that with this short span, I mean, we've only been together since January. We had 2 months of preparation before the start of our first game, and then COVID happened. So we're really new to this. We're a new team, but I really feel that we are kind of ahead of the game because the guys are already bringing that character that we talk about, and you know, I guess I'm lucky with that. And we have guys like Mike Gregorio, Maverick Ahamisi, Rodney, Abu, all new guys who, you know, even the rookies, all new guys who are willing to do what it takes just to do their part and win. So I guess in that regard, I'm very lucky. So this is just a quick look, guys, of the team that we have now. This picture was taken right before COVID. So, you know, like I said, I'll repeat it again, I'm already proud of the guys and how they are. It's a new beginning for us, but we're excited for the new season. You know, we have a great combination of vets and young guys. You know, our sports med team are just awesome. They take care of the guys. Management, always supportive and being there for everyone. Our utility staff, and of course, ikaw. Di pwede mawala si ikaw, no? So last thing I'd just like to say about our team moving forward is I think we're on the right path. I really do. I believe that in my heart. I think that guys are starting this journey on the right way. You know, the attitude is right, and we just got to keep pushing and just really gain more experience as we move forward. So before I end, guys, if you don't mind, I'd like to just a quick quote on some of my favorite NBA coaches. Greg Pop, of course, he said, "Play the right way means play unselfishly, respect each other's achievement, play hard, and fulfill your role." That's pretty much self-explanatory. Brad Stevens said once, "We're building a culture of accountability, trust, and togetherness." I love that. Entitlement will not be tolerated. You know, being a new young head coach, with these NBA egos, it's really hard. So that culture of accountability is really important. And then John Wooden, of course, the famous John Wooden, be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is who you really are. Your reputation is merely what others think of you. So that's just self-explanatory on how important our character, or why character is important to us also at Alaska. And then the last two quotes by Phil Jackson: good teams become great ones when the members trust each other enough to surrender the me for the we. And I have to confirm this, but I think that's where we stole the hashtag we not me that Alaska uses all the time. And then the last one is: the strength of the team is each individual member. The strength of each member is the team. So we have another saying that kind of describes that, is the team itself leads the team. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here, guys. I hope, you learned a little something about our Alaska culture that I'm very proud of. Thank you, Hoop Coaches International, Coach Ariel, Doc, Sel. Thank you for having me. And then my last message is just for everyone to be safe. Let's do our part. I know it's a little bit of a struggle right now, staying at home, but it is for the best for everyone. And I really believe that one day soon we'll be able to go back to a new normal, but a new, better normal. So God bless everyone. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Doc Teddy, can you lead us to the questions that our attendees?
We have a couple of questions, Coach Jeff. Ian's asking, why did you choose number 22 as your jersey number?
Oh, nice. So can I give you and this is really a joke. Can I give you the joke answer and then the real answer after that?
Okay.
the joke answer is, we all know, especially watching The Last Dance, how awesome Jordan is, right? He really, to me, is the GOAT. So I always say, my game is not like him, but maybe my game is maybe a notch lower than Jordan. So I'll just take 22. But that's a joke. So huwag kayo maniwala dun. Don't believe that. The real answer is if you know me, Coach Ariel, you watch me play a lot of times. I would say I like to play both ends. So 2-2, double trouble, playing offense and defense. That's really where it came from. So I wear 22, proudly.
Excellent. From Robbie, what would you consider as your best lesson that you learned as a player and as a coach?
Oh wow, what a good question. As a player, what I've learned is coaches will always put you in the right position, even if you don't agree with it. They will always look after for your well-being and the well-being of the team. So once you understand that it's always the team first, even if it's against what you like to do, then that's always what's best. And what's hard is you don't realize that until after.
Mm-hmm.
So players that that love to play, that expects playing time, or the other day Scottie Pippen sat on a bench because he wanted the ball, or he wanted the play be called for him. Although I don't agree with how he handled it, but that's the attitude that you gotta kind of have. But you gotta also understand that you have to trust the coach, because all they want to do is put the team ahead of anything, and you can never go wrong there.
Right. There's a couple more, Doc.
We have a question again from Ian. How did you get into the sneaker business with Titan 22? And what are your favorite basketball kicks? Thank you.
Favorite basketball
shoes?
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was. I'm fortunate enough, guys. Again, and we discussed relationship a few times. I've said that word several times tonight. And one of the relationships that I made sure that I'm very happy about, that I maintain and build, was relationship with guys from Nike. So during that time, my partner, especially my main partner, there's a couple other guys, and I won't mention all of them, but my main partner, who's actually our CEO here at Titan, he used to work for Nike. And and I made it a point just to, appreciate and show my appreciation that I was being sponsored by Nike while I was playing. And they were really an important brand for me because they took care of my shoes playing. I never had to worry about it. And meeting him was probably the best thing that happened to me with Nike, and maintaining the relationship with him because he came up with this idea, and it's all his idea. Just one day, this came at me. It was my second to the last year before I retired. He was thinking about retiring and moving forward from Nike and opening up this basketball shoe store where we have this side kind of thing with the barber shop, and where we create this community where basketball can be discussed and talked about with the barbers, and you can read magazines, and at the same time you're selling basketball shoes. At the time, imagine how much our country loves basketball. And at the time there was no store or no location to go to where just strictly for basketball. That's what we did. From his idea, that's what we did. I'm glad I maintained my relationship with him. I was a little hesitant from the beginning to join, to be honest with you, because I was about to retire. But I'm happy that we maintained it, and I've helped it grow a little bit now to where it is, and I'm happy to say that we were 10 years in. Oh, and then my favorite kicks, Doc Ted, I'd have to say they have to be the Jordan 11s, right? So it has to be the J11. So those are
number one shoe in ESPN recently. I read the poll of number one.
What? Oh,
Number
interesting.
two was
I don't know.
Jordan 1.
The Jordan 1, yeah. So, interesting.
Good choice, Coach.
Yeah.
Clarence has a question, Coach. Coach Jeff, what is the hardest part of being a coach, being an assistant coach before?
The hardest part of being an assistant coach before, honestly, is just feeling like if you did enough, if you've done enough on a daily to help out the team. Your number one. I didn't have it there earlier, but your number one position and job is to support no matter what the head coach is applying, what we're doing, game plan and everything. So I was there. I was honestly there all the time in support of what he was doing. But then when you go home, you always think about if you've done enough. Can I talk to this person, but you don't want to overstep? Can I work this guy out, but you don't want to do anything beyond what the program has been given out to the players. So that's probably one of the things I would say what was a little difficult.
Oh, sorry. From Matt Ang. If someone was offered a chance to play professionally or to start coaching, what advice would you give them? Would you
Coach
advise to
Ariel,
play
can you
first?
repeat that? It was a little choppy.
Yeah. If someone was offered a chance to play professionally or to start coaching, what would you advise? What advice would you give? To play for or to start coaching?
Play first, because your years are counted, as a player, So that window of opportunity is very small. So while it's open, you have to take advantage of it. And again, age and youth and mileage plays a big part in your career. So the sooner you start, I guess, the younger you are, the better it is for you, the better player that you're going to become. So I would say player first. And then if that doesn't pan out the way you like, then you could always go into coaching.
Sel, you have any question for Coach? Turn on your mic, Sel.
There you go.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
This is an interesting question among the list that's related to like being a player first. Now, what Coach Jeff is the fondest memory that you have as a coach that you just are not tired of sharing to everybody? Experience as a player that you will never tire of sharing to everybody.
Hello, sorry. So it was a little choppy. I think it's my internet, but you're asking my fondest memory as a coach, as a player. Sorry.
As a player, yes, that you'll never get tired of sharing to people.
Oh my gosh, I probably have a million stories. Probably more than half I cannot share. Uh, well, what's a fondest memory? Honestly, um, when when you're on the free throw line, right? Oh, sorry, ganito na lang. When you're a kid, right? Whatever sport you play, there's always that pretending that you're gonna hit the big shot. Time running down, you're gonna hit the big shot so your team wins the championship. Or you're playing baseball and you hit a home run and then the crowd goes wild and you win the World Series. And then the football, you win the Super Bowl with the touchdown. You guys get what I'm saying. So first happened to me honestly during our first All Filipino in '96, my second year in the PBA, was really that dream that came true. So that has to be one of my fondest memories that I'll never forget. To be able to shoot two free throws, you're down one. There's about 1.4 seconds left in the game clock, and it's for game five. It's game five of the finals, and if you make two free throws, you win the championship. So to be put in that situation for you to go through it and make the shot, I think was really special to me. Great question.
That was a nice experience, coach. And okay, in addition to that, during your playing years, coach, could you give 5 players that are hard to defend? That's a question from Ryan La Rosa.
Mm. Five
Five
players that's
players,
hard to
yeah.
defend. Great question. Yeah, that's a really great question. Okay, first one, I'm gonna say Bong Alvarez. Okay, he was tough. Strong, could jump. Um, so the scouting report on him was give him space because he's not that much of a shooter. No, so
Uh-huh.
I'd still give him space, but it still drive past me and score. Um, Number two, I would say Alan K. Dick is one. Is number two. Shooter, he goes through a lot of screens. He's really crafty and getting open. So I would say he's one. Another guy I would say is a good friend of mine, Willie Miller. He was tough to guard. He's a little, he had that Baron Davis body and he was strong and he can shoot and go to the basket just as well. So very very tough to defend. Who else? I was able to defend James a little bit early in his career because it was the latter part of my career, and you could tell that he was going to be a stud. You really could tell. So he's got really big hands and quick and good footwork, so that made it difficult. And then another guy who would be a hard guy to defend. There's always there's always a guy on the other team who is either the best scorer. I always took the challenge of guarding the best scorers on the other team and pride myself on that. So yeah, I can't think of anyone else. So that I'll just stay with the four for right now.
And guarding imports, especially early in your career.
Oh,
That was
import.
one
That's very
Wow.
interesting. That's
in
interesting.
'96. You're
How?
tapping the court, and then you're egging the import to drive. That's my one memory of
Yeah.
you. '96.
Say it again, Doc. Say it again.
You're egging the import to drive. You're tapping
Yeah.
the hardwood floor. That's my one memory of you.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Doc, that you remember that. That was
Coach,
just again part of the psychology of showing the offensive player that I'm ready to defend. So you tap the floor, and if you're if you've been under Coach Tim, he'd always say that, tap the floor, get ready, tap the floor. So yeah, I think that was a one memorable moment with that particular incident where I remember tapping the floor was against San Miguel in the finals, and their import. Gosh, I'm gonna kill myself for forgetting his name, but it kind of looks like Eddie Murphy. Do you remember his name? Kamukha niya si Eddie Murphy. Really good player.
Ines Watley.
Yeah, I think Coach
No,
Ariel.
No?
no, not it.
Uh,
Same here.
I'm killing myself anyway. So
the
if I
attendees
remember, I
might
will
help
know.
us.
And yeah, so but yeah, imports are always tough to go. I can't. You can never stop them. That's the thing. You just gotta try to maintain them a little bit. So instead of scoring 40, they score 25. So happy ka na dun.
Mhm.
Coach,
When you were okay, go.
What's your favorite memory of the Grand Slam year, '96?
I'd have to say after winning two championships, the first and the second conference, um, going into that third one, that was really the first time I guess it was even mentioned about the opportunity to win a Grand Slam. I guess it's natural because you just won two in a row. So syempre going into the third, there's a little bit of discussion. So my memory of that was the start of the third conference. We were flat, just horrible. We lost our first three games. I want to say maybe four, and it was one of those things where people are starting to question: Are we tired? How badly do we want it? So to make a long story short, we kind of got together, settled ourselves a little bit. Our leaders did a good job in making sure everyone stayed composed and ready to play that next game. And then next thing you know, we had a 13-0 run. We won 13 in a row. So the next time we lost was I think was game two of the finals, and we eventually won the series against Nebra. So yeah, that's got to be one of my fondest memory for the Grand Slam year.
There's an additional question to that, Coach, from one of our participants. You shot those
Sure.
free throws to win that 96 All Filipino Cup. So if you were going to teach somebody to, or if you were going to teach one of your players to do to shoot those free throws, how would you teach them? What would you tell them?
Well, to be honest, that's part of kind of like the conversation you give players, and as they're practicing free throws at practice. So the goal is you shoot every free throw as if it's for the win, for the finals, for the championship. So that's just something that we kind of dialogue to them and let them know. So there's always, when you're at practice, there's people walking around, there's guys, standing next to you if there's no spacing. It's a little bit of a downtime. So it's during that downtime where we ask them to stay more focused, treat it like it's two free throws to win a championship, and then make your free throws. So you're psychologically kind of practicing that effort, and hopefully when it's come to play, there's a little bit of calmness in you. You remember when you were in Gatorade hoops compared to Araneta Coliseum where it's packed with 20,000 people, and
Yeah.
that calmness will allow you to stay composed and make the basket. So.
Coach Ariel?
Yep. Anymore. There's a question, a hypothetical question, which would have been better, the Mobiline team with Asi and Andy, or the Tanduay team with Eric Menk, Sunny Alvarado, Rudy, and Don Don?
Oh,
So that's a interesting question.
a good
Barring
question.
Coach,
barring
sorry,
injuries,
again, I lost you. So, which would have been better?
Mobiline team with Asi or Andy, or the Tanduay team with Eric, Rudy, Sunny, Don Don?
Interesting. Wow. Just because you mentioned more names, and I think we had a more complete team at Tanduay. I might have to say Tanduay. I might have to say Tanduay, but you know, you can never underestimate just the Asi and Andy were our version of the Twin Towers of Houston, no? So I just felt like with a little bit more patience, we fill in the gaps a little bit more. That would have been a special team, but it didn't happen.
Somebody's asking about what do you remember about the Centennial team? What was your feeling when Coach Tim announced the 12 players that will
Wow.
play?
What was I feeling? Honestly, very, very hurt and disappointed. I remember after him telling me that I went for a long walk. We were already there. We were already in Bangkok. I think it was Bangkok when it happened. So we brought along the 13 guys, and knowing that when we get there, there'll be one guy that's going to be left out of the lineup. So, of course, everyone is kind of hoping it wasn't them. But so yeah, I was very hurt. But again, it's one of those things where you use it to inspire you even more. So that's really what I did. I could look back now and say that I think I handled it okay. But that initial feeling, gosh, crying. I didn't want to see the guys. Yun lang.
How started?
Sorry,
Coach,
coach.
sorry, one more time.
The Jet. What was how
Uh,
did it start? The Jet moniker.
oh, the Jet. Okay. Early in my career, I think my game, if you were to assess my game, I was really more on penetrating and attacking the basket. No, it wasn't until after maybe my first couple years in the league where I knew I had to develop a jump shot, threes, pull ups. So that's when I started working on my game. But at the beginning, it was really more attacks and attacking the basket. And um, I guess they said I would attack the basket hard and I'm able to get a little bit of a lift off. So that's why they call me the Jet. So yeah, that's what I recall. So I don't remember that because they call me the jet lag now. So
That's a good one. That's a good one. Questions on YouTube from Jay Flores. As a player, when did you realize that it was time to go to coaching or your playing days are over? He's probably wondering what.
yeah, that's an interesting question. Wanted to say when I was going to retire. So when I retired in 2010, that was 15 years. I honestly felt like I could have played at least another year, but I wanted to retire on my own terms. So I felt 15 years was a good number for me. So my suggestion to you or my advice is, Jay, just to really just kind of feel it out. If you're kind of at the end of your career and you feel like you want to slowly get into coaching, do that. But it's hard to do it both. So make a commitment to one, and then if you feel like that the playing days are kind of slowly, gone, and you're not as happy playing, then I suggest when it's time for you to kind of cut that rope and then head on to a new adventure. So yeah, that's what I would say.
All right, and who was your best or favorite teammate at Alaska from June De Gallo?
Junior guy. Good question. You're gonna get me in trouble. I'm supposed to say all my teammates. No, honestly, I have
Your
great relationships with almost all my teammates. Early in my career, I would say I was the closest to Johnny. You know, So that's safe to say. That's fair to say. Although I had good relationship with Jojo and Bong and everyone. Merwin was my best friend. Merwin Costello was my best friend in the PBL. So when he got drafted by Alaska in '94, and then I got drafted by Alaska in '95, we were teammates again. So obviously I was close to him. But in my latter years, I would say I got really close to Willie and Tony De La Cruz.
All right. Thank you, Coach. When you were playing under Team Cone, did you ever see yourself becoming a coach or competing against your former mentor?
Honestly, no, not at all. Um, my I was gonna mention it earlier, but it wasn't it wasn't as if I was getting towards the end of my career, and I told myself that one day I'm gonna eventually coach. Um, I'm happy to say that it didn't work out that way. It was one of those things where I was given an opportunity after a year of being retired to be an assistant coach with Coach Tim, and that's when I thought about it. That's when I'm like, you know what? Let me give this a try and see where it leads me. So yeah, there. So it wasn't like I'm gonna coach one day. That's what I want to do after I play. Hindi siya ganun eh. So you know I'm really lucky. I really are. So I feel like I'm really blessed with that opportunity.
Speaking
Thank
of
you. Sure.
speaking of coaching, I think we have more interesting questions. Somebody was asking, what's the best call that you think you ever made as a coach, Coach Jeff?
The best call. Wow. I'd like to, and this has nothing to do with the guys that I traded. No, so
Yeah.
I'm in close. I still feel like I have a good relationship with the guys that I traded, but um, Chris Banchero and Simon and Cease played a big role the last couple of years for the Aces, and I think you guys know that. And going into this year, and partly was also because of them also expiring and negotiating. But I felt like the best decision I made was to bring in guys that I think will be a little bit better in the system that I'm bringing into Alaska. So I guess to answer your question, so I'm happy that I was able to bring in, Mike DeGregorio, Albu Trotter, Rodney Brunjal. So yeah, so for right now, I know it's kind of just recent, but that has to be a move I think that I'm happy about.
All right. Doc Teddy, we're good for the last three questions. I know you're egging to ask your questions, Doc.
I just want to say that Coach Jeff gave a very thorough presentation, so a lot of my questions were answered there. But Coach, I ask all of our guests this question: with your years of playing and of course coaching now, like with America and with Alaska, can you give us 5 qualities a coach should possess in order to be successful? Thank you.
Interesting. 5 qualities. Okay. To be honest, it's really difficult. So your definition of success is your goal is the same for every coach, but your definition of success is also varies through different people. So qualities where I think 5 qualities I think that's needed for a head coach to be successful. One, I would say he's very open to suggestions and opinions. So he's willing to be able to discuss with the staff and even accept opinions and recommendations and suggestions by his players. I think that's one. I think that's one. So not being that kind of dictator guy who's saying that it's only my way or the highway for everyone. I think having an open relationship is really crucial. Number two is honesty. you have to be honest with these guys because I played for 15 years. I know when a coach is BSing you. You really felt it. You know when the coach isn't consistent with what he's saying. So I think you know it's a big responsibility. There's a lot of things that you always appreciate. Uh, you you hold your coach, but it opposite way. You know, I don't. I should have done this, just did this. There's always a platform when to do that, but I really don't mind that. I don't mind that the players.
Hello, Coach Jeff.
I think we are losing Coach Jeff a bit, but he's back. Coach Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
thought it was
sorry,
my.
guys.
All right. Sorry.
The last thing I heard was number 2 is honesty.
What was the last thing?
Number 2, yeah, number 2, right,
Yeah.
Doc?
Honesty.
Be honest with your players. You can't,
Did you hear it? Did you hear it? Right.
that's it. That's the last thing I heard.
Did you hear? Oh, that's the last thing. Okay. Number 3 is accountability. So I'm really open to make sure that you know within the coaching staff they know that they can talk to me and let me know when I'm doing things wrong or if they have a suggestion. So I think having an open relationship with them is also crucial. But also the players. You know, the players are on the court. You know, they'll remind you, and I really don't mind that. They'll remind you, and coach, you said, don't forget, you said this. So why are defense is supposed to be this? You know, so sometimes you're thinking about a lot of things and you may forget details, but I really don't mind being held and making sure that I hold the tunnel. And as a head coach, you have to continuously seek wisdom. Always seek wisdom. And that's just you know you can. Excuse me.
Number 4. Sorry, I lost you. Is that number 4? Continually seek wisdom.
Yeah, it's continuously seeking wisdom. We were concerned, coach. You do watch those, asking why San Miguel is so good, asking, you know, watching, you know, why is Ginebra so good, things like that nature. And then number 5, what I mean, act form is where you're fun. I'm not get sweaty to get dirty with and being saying just being out there, staying engaged with the guys. I think they'll appreciate that more. So those are my 5 things.
Is number 5 stay engaged?
Number 5 is I have it here, getting down and dirty. So just willingness to just practice and be on the court with the guys, coaching them, letting them see you, you know, staying engaged and you know showing them how to properly defend and you know dribbling the ball when you need to, stuff like that. So I think that's crucial. You know, you cannot just stand behind the sidelines and point fingers. So I think that's important in what we're doing.
Coach, number 4 is continually seek wisdom. So you have to keep on asking questions, right?
Right.
Sorry about that. We kept on losing you, so I was just trying to pick up what I could from what got.
No worries, Doc. Not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Again, with that, again, we'd like to thank you, Coach Jeff, and of course, Sel and Teddy, for this evening. And I'd like to thank the attendees for listening in. For sure, they've learned a lot from your journey as a player and as a coach, and back again, to coach Alaska, your team for twice returning to Alaska. So again, would like to give you the floor, Coach Jeff, for your parting words.
Oh, first and foremost, I really love what you guys are doing, Coach Ariel, Doc Teddy, Sal. What you guys have here is really giving a lot of coaches a platform to learn more, and I'm learning something each and every day. So I really appreciate what you're doing. So thank you for having me here. Thank you for allowing me to share a little bit of my journey. I appreciate everyone just staying and watching and listening. I hope you learned something. And again, during this time of crisis, I just want to remind everyone to stay safe, stay together with your family, and we hope to see you guys soon.
And yeah, thank you so much, Coach Jeff. And again,
Thanks, Coach.
we couldn't thank you enough and for helping this cause for the coaches also. And Sel, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been great
Thank you for having me.
to have some and Doc Teddy, of course. Thank you so much. Again, tomorrow we have a full live. Start with hosting Rick Olivares' Usapang Ateneo at 4 p.m. And then we'll have our very own head coach of Blackwater Elite, Nash Rosella, at 6 p.m. And then at 8 p.m., my pare, Asik Lava, will join us in a Q&A
Nice.
at 8. And of course, Doc Teddy's international webinar, which will be hosting together with International Ball on the role of sports psychology in a basketball team. So join us again tomorrow for a full day tomorrow. Again, help the frontliners, stay safe, and we'll see you again. Have a pleasant night ahead of us. Good night. Thank you again, Coach.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.